who they are, and a couple of points on just who they were that, influenced you. All
Okay.
right, so Sandra, you want to start first, and then I'll follow?
I will start. The three are of my mother, one of my grandmothers, we called her Mama Lula, and then one of my aunts, Aunt Ruby, but we called her Aunt T. And Mom, I'm blessed to have Mom still here, and character, patience, all those good qualities that she had. I didn't get them all, but she taught them all. I ain't use them all, but she taught them all. And even now, at least a couple times a week, we talk about different things that are going on, and it's just a blessing to have that kind of guidance. The second person was my grandmother, who I spent all my summers with, and I was a tomboy, and in the South, you couldn't be a tomboy. So while the boys were out playing, I was in the house learning all of this stuff that I didn't want to learn, like cooking, cleaning, all the stuff, and, wearing a slip and how not to get your knees scuffed and all that kind of stuff.
But wearing a slip.
Yes. So how to, a lot of life skills. I learned a lot of different life skills from my mom than my grandmother. And my grandmother was about 4'11", and I'm 5'9". So, that was, that was an interesting combination growing up in the South, and she lived to be 99. So what I have learned from her, I still use today, and I've passed it on to my kids. And there were just some things that were very traditional that we helped her change. We got older. Like the one of the things that she would do is that the men always ate first in her house, and then the women and children. And it took her a long time for us to get her out of that because things had changed, but she hadn't. That's what she knew. But as far as cooking, she taught me Southern cooking. My mother taught me Northern cooking. And then the third person would be my Aunt T.
What?
Aunt T.
Oh, okay, Aunt T.
Aunt T. Ruby. Aunt Ruby. I'll say Ruby, but we call her Aunt T. And she worked for this very, very wealthy family. She was the cook and the housekeeper. And my uncle was the lawnsman, so to speak. He took care of the yards and the kennel. And I had the opportunity to go there to their home when I was younger with her, when she was cooking clean. Now, she ruled that house. You didn't touch her kitchen. I mean, nothing. She ruled. But what it really exposed me to was that there was such a big world out there and such a different lifestyle that even as a military child was different. It was obvious that it was different. And back then, I didn't know what cashmere sweaters were. And so where she worked, it really was a mansion. They would go shopping, and when they got home, they would decide, well, I don't want anything that I bought. So I had cashmere sweaters. I didn't know, they were just nice and soft, and my attire was very different outside of school with what I had access to, but I didn't even know what it meant. And that gave me a different perspective on the differences in terms of where people lived in versus in their communities, as well as how big the world was. And then when she got sick at age 10, I was cornrolling hair. I could do hair. I was braiding her hair when she got sick, and she lost her eyesight and different things. But in hindsight, you're like, those things made a mark because it gave me a different perception of the world as a whole. And even though she was the housekeeper, it was so evident that they really respected her. And they showed, when she passed, they showed how much they loved her. And so, yeah, I don't even know if I ever told my siblings that before, but that was something that just stuck with me. It just stuck with me. And I would listen to her talk. When she couldn't see, she could hear and she could smell like nothing. And she would just talk, and it just stuck with me.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Well, those are some really, I'm so glad that I'm grateful and glad that you've had those women in your lives that created this amazing woman that sits before us right now. So I'm going to share mine. And ladies, if you have a moment, if you want to put together a couple of things, let me know. You know, could throw one out there. So, but um, three influential women in my life. Of course, my mother. She gave me life.
Right.
Yes. And she introduced me to Christ. She literally, and I know that might not be a lot to some people, but she introduced me to church. And then it developed into being, I sing in the choir, I direct the choir, I play instruments, I've recorded with a lot of really great gospel artists, and I've worked with some of the best. And she encouraged me in that, and I'm very grateful for that because Christ is such a huge part of who you see to this day. And I know without him, you wouldn't see all of this fabulous wonderfulness. I'm just saying, if it wasn't for God, hallelujah, won't he do it? Yes, he will. So I'm very grateful for that and the things that she taught me. But that one thing is really that I value that she really pushed how important your relationship with Christ was. Um, Also, the other influential woman is my mother-in-law. May she rest in peace, Ida Austin Cox. This woman right here. Oh my goodness, she helped me become more confident in my gifts. Like I said, with anything, the church, singing, directing, she was even like my passion was doing hair and makeup. She was like, Rashida, okay, do this, try this. She pushed me above and beyond anything that, and when I felt comfortable, she pushed me out of my comfort zone. So, and she really helped me embrace me being comfortable in my skin, comfortable with my skin tone. Because I was in my family, everybody else is light skin. I'm the dark. Me and my other cousin, we the dark ones in the family. She said, God made you just the way you are, and He don't make no mistakes, boo. So she helped me to embrace that as well. And my last one is my stepmother. Her name is Priscilla Williams, and a lot of people like your step parent, and some people think some relationships are different. All the relationships are different between parents and step parents, but this one, I, what she poured into me, and I showed and learned from her was she could take now literally I with my step was my stepmother, my father, myself. From my father, I was from that marriage, and then my stepmother had two from her previous marriage, and then they had two more that they had together. If that ain't a blended family, I don't know what is. But she really did teach us that we were one unit. It wasn't no. When I say I have a brother and a sister who are white, and I have two younger sisters that are biracial. Them are my siblings. Ain't no step. And I usually don't call her stepmom because she was a mother to me. But you already heard that I have my mom already. But she showed me how important it was to be one unit, no matter how diverse and how different, and also how important um, dinner time. When I grew up between both of my parents, they were divorced. So I had my mom who worked. She was a nurse, and she was always working. And in the evening, she worked evenings, so that's 3 to 11. So I didn't have much family dinner time. It was me, her, and my stepdad, and it wasn't just as that normal American have dinner, family time, stuff like that. That wasn't that. And when I went to visit my dad, and my stepmother made sure that dinner time was the time where kids could really talk about their day, talk about their issues. We set the table. It's the things, the foundations of things that right now I don't know if kids have that. But I am so grateful because now I passed that on to my children and in my marriage. And I think that is very, very important to have that time. For me, it was, and I think that made a huge impact on who I am today. So those are my three most influential women in my life. that made me who I am. Do anybody else would like to share one before? Okay, go ahead, Diane.
I would say the first woman is my mom. And I say this, I come from two uteruses. I'll tell you how I say it.
You
That's
said
what I
two.
call it. I come
You
from
said
two
two
uteruses. Yeah,
uteruses.
two of them. I have a biological mother who birthed me. That's the
Mhm.
first uterus. So she brought me in this world. I was only with her for 1 year, so I really didn't know her. The second uterus was my mother who adopted me. And according to my documentation, she adopted me as if she had literally given birth to me. I have two birth certificates.
Wow.
That's why I say I have two uteruses. That's where I
Mhm.
come from. And I get my strength from my mother that raised me, that adopted me. My temperament, my from that comes from my biological mother. So I got both of them in me, put it this way, both of them. My mother that raised me, she comes from Arkansas. So remember, both of my mothers are from Arkansas. My mother has this southern hospitality. That's why everybody knows me by my smile. That's my signature, is my smile. I've learned how to do all kind of cooking from my mother. She can cook everything. And when you put a chicken in front of her, she can cook that chicken 100 different ways. So and buttermilk cornbread. Now those two I can jam on the buttermilk cornbread. I can
Mm,
cook buttermilk cornbread blindfolded. Okay, that's how I cook it. Yeah.
Jesus.
Okay.